What's up? I'm Tyler.
And I'm Dakota.
And this is the Bourbon and Business Podcast,
where we interview successful businessmen and women to let you in on why success doesn't have a single formula to follow.
We also have a little bourbon tasting along the way, because why not?
Why not?
So guys, please enjoy this episode and let us know your thoughts at Bourbon and Business Podcast on Instagram.
Coming to you from the Bourbon and Business Studio here at the AC Hotel in Ridgeland, Mississippi. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Dakota.
And this is the
Bourbon and Business Podcast.
Appreciate that, Dakota.
I felt like if we had like an echo or something, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that was great.
Like a sound effect. Just trying to save money afterwards in the editing process.
Okay. Well, how you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great.
Not phenomenal anymore?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, notch down. But
as the day goes on.
You want to tell our listeners about the AC Hotel?
Yeah, man. We're at the AC Hotel in Ridgeland, Mississippi, the premier hotel here. They've got event spaces. They have events. They've got breakfast, lunch, dinner available. They've got coffee here, great room selection. If you're looking at putting somebody that you really want to impress in a hotel here in the Jackson metro area, I would highly, highly suggest you consider the AC Hotel.
And then you want to introduce our guests to us?
I do. Today we have special guest, Welch, founder of Poppy Pies. Gray, welcome.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yep, glad to have you. And then what are we sipping on, Dakota?
We are sipping on, I still don't know how to pronounce this. I think we've had one of these on before. I think it's Huling Station. Huling would be Hulling, right? And Huling would be like Hueling. So I'm going to go Huling.
That's a good one, man.
Okay.
So, this one's got a good burn to it. So
it's their Trolly Stop series, and it's been aged 9 years.
All right. So proof-wise, we're looking like at 100 proof?
119.
Okay. I was going to say, because it is very hot.
It's hot.
So you'll like this, Dakota.
119.23, excuse me.
Got a great burn on it. I'm going to have to give it a 8.5.
Okay.
So I like
That's
it.
not too bad. Let's see.
You know what the price was on that?
I think it was around 50, maybe 50, 60.
$50. So
yeah.
For $50, definitely a good pick. If you want to get a bottle of this, check out our sponsors, Cheers Vineyard in Gluckstadt, Mississippi. And they have pretty much everything that you would want there.
Yeah, they have a great store space too. It's always very clean, staff very friendly. You just feel welcome when you walk in.
Yep. So, well, Gray, we appreciate you coming on this morning. We'd like to start this. Just tell our listeners where you're from and then how you founded Poppy's Pie.
Yeah. So born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, have worked in a lot of different restaurants over the years. Tried the corporate thing for a minute. Soul got sucked out of my body. And so I stopped that and then moved into pizza. I had worked at a pizza spot. I'll say their name, and if you want to remove it, you can. A great local spot, Sal and Mookie's. Learned a ton there. Learned that I really enjoyed pizza. And that was at the very beginning of COVID. They specifically opened the one in Madison, and that's when I learned how fun it was to make pizza. And then from there, just kind of how it goes, where I said, well, what if I did this without having somebody else's approval? And then Poppy Pies came into existence. And for those who aren't aware, Poppy is my first child. She's 5. And so hopefully we're doing a good job so that we don't embarrass her when she's older. So.
I know, I can only imagine like the Wendy's founder. Like, wasn't that the founder's daughter's name?
Yeah.
It was Wendy. And I wonder what she thinks about it now.
She probably said, thanks so much for all the money that I have.
That's a great point.
I really appreciate it.
Well, maybe your daughter will say the same.
Yeah. Here's hoping. Yeah.
Well, tell our listeners a little bit about, so you went from working in the corporate world to going out on your own. What was that shift like from, being in a corporation to, hey, I'm opening up my own shop?
I think if you're somebody who has a lot of good ideas, you like to move very quickly, like myself, it's a pro and a con. If you get very obsessive, that means you can get good at things very quickly. And then if you're in an environment like corporate, the frustration that I felt was that you're not like, a lot of your forward momentum has to do with how long you've been somewhere. So it doesn't matter if your gas pedal is set to 100 and you're just like getting so much done. the reward comes from like, well, you can't have the next position because according to our standards, you have to have in this position for a year.
Yeah.
And then the next one's another year. And it's like, well, it doesn't feel super good when you kind of feel like you consistently have these roadblocks. So what I did was this was the whole get up super early in the morning, about 4 o'clock, get prep done, clock into work at 8, do that, use my lunch break to run errands and load up the car and get ready. Then it hits 5 o'clock and I'm like sprinting out the door, going to pop up events. And we did a lot of those in Fondren and Fertile Ground in the Belhaven area. And we went all over, did that for a long time, then ended up getting, I guess, like, technically I quit, but if we're being honest with ourselves, it was definitely a firing because I became maybe the worst employee that insert name of company here ever had. I started really good, and then it got to the point where when I saw the pizza thing start to work and the frustrations that I was experiencing at work, it was just like more of a game of, well, how little can I possibly do in a day? And it would actually be kind of hilarious to see how little got done. And I stayed there for as long as I did. So that's a whole nother podcast that we can cover later. But then eventually they were like, well, I think as of next week, we need you to no longer do remote and we need you to come back into the office. And, it was like, I'm not going to do that
Mm-hmm.
because that I'm doing this pizza thing. And so that really scary jump from corporate salary, normal every single day, to going to just living off of the money that you're generating with what you're doing business wise, it was bizarre. It's like you wake up the next day after that, and then it's like 7, like normal, and you're sitting there like, like, I guess here I am,
What are we going to do today?
Yeah. And then the next thing is looking at a calendar that's empty, and that's terrifying. And then you find ways to fill it up. And then it's like, oh, you could have done this way sooner because it's not as complicated as it feels. I guess the fear is what keeps you from doing that.
Talk a little bit about, because obviously now on social media, you see a lot of pizzas and stuff everywhere. What has it been, or what was it like for you to start growing your audience and actually get your product out there where people could find you?
There's so many things that we did correct, which was showing up every time that we said we would.
Yes. Say it
and,
again.
And that's what I found over time is that's more important than any other thing that we ever did. Sure, the food was good. We got lucky kind of because we did a weird Hail Mary pizza that is called the Captain. That's our signature. That's real unique. It's got like Ritz cracker and like a sweet glaze over the top. If you haven't had
Sounds
it,
fantastic.
it's really good, but it's
It got
bizarre.
Captain Rodney's on it.
It's basically what it is. It's a Captain Rodney's pizza. And so a lot of folks at first were very confused about it, like Ritz crackers on a pizza. I don't know about all that, like that sort of thing. And then when you try it, I think it's really good that the expectations were really low. Like they thought it was going to be gross. So it's easy for their perception to be that much better. So that probably helped us. But about the showing up thing, I mean, even when it was raining, snowing, the worst day that we had, snow doesn't happen super frequently in Mississippi, obviously, but the worst day that we ever had, it was 27 degrees and raining at the same time. And so, we probably sold maybe 10 pizzas that day. So like any like investor from the outside looking in would have been like, yeah, just close. It's not that big of a deal. There's no reason to take the truck out and like do this whole thing.
Yeah.
But it was like, no, because we've had it on on the schedule that we're going to be there. I want the 5 people that show up to be able to look outside and see how miserable we are. But the fact that we're still standing there,
Mm-hmm.
and then over time, you just get more calls because everybody's like, these people don't cancel.
Yeah.
I can think of 3 times in like 5 years where we've canceled an event, and that's for various things that, certain things that come out of your control, popped tire, etc. But just the showing up consistently, even if the food were worse, that by far is the most important thing for how we have consistently shown up for people and they've eaten our food.
And that's tough too, because, consistency isn't something you can do quickly, right?
Yeah.
Consistency is built over time, and that reputation is built over time. So like it takes days and weeks and months and years for you to build that reputation of, hey, those guys literally don't cancel.
Right.
They just never do. Right.
Yeah.
Which is tough. But I wanted to ask you too. So you've got the Captain. It's a unique pizza.
Yeah.
I know there's a huge debate out there, and I need you to settle it for us right here.
Okay. I see where this is going, but let's hear it.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Listen, we don't have pineapple on any of our pizzas, but it's like, what's with this hoity-toity shit and like thinking that if you like stuff, just eat it. It's literally not that complicated because and I'm sorry for cursing if that's not a part of the
You're
thing that
good.
y'all do. Y'all can do whatever you want with that. But it's like, okay, nobody wrote the book on pizza and somebody's going to flag this and be like, I can't believe it's not pizza if it has these sorts of things on it. But it's like, in the simplest way, I'm totally divorced from the fact that authenticity is like important. Like, as long as you're treating something respectfully, like trying hard to make it good, what that means doesn't matter. So I know that's more of like a tongue in cheek like question because everybody gets real heated about that sort of thing. But
I'm
it's
just hoping
like,
this is a clip that'll go viral.
no, totally. But ultimately, it's like who am I to say that your taste is is wrong or shouldn't be allowed?
This is a good answer.
We don't do it, but do whatever you want.
Tyler, are you a pineapple fan?
I mean, I've eaten it before, but
Did you hate it?
I'm more of a traditional, like, pepperoni sausage. But no, I didn't hate it. I mean, it tasted fine.
Honestly, I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was like a little bit of sweet with which I imagine the sweet glaze is really good. And it's
Yeah.
for the same kind of a reason. Like you get the sweet and the sauce from the pizza at the same time. It's
Yeah,
just-
if it has pineapple on it, I definitely want to have ham on it. So
I guess at the end of the day, if you think about it, like somebody who's going to get up in arms about pineapple on pizza, it's like we put crackers on it, so we're already screwed. So I mean,
it's a valid point.
we're already in the hole. So
Valid point. Well, let's talk about that too, because you're right. Some people, like if you're that kind of person that's going to get that fired up about something, then you're probably getting fired up about a lot of stuff, right? You're just constantly in that state of mind. So how do you deal with negative comments? Because even the best companies, the best food in the world, like, 5-star restaurants, that kind of stuff, they get negative comments about their food. So how do you deal with that from an owner's perspective?
yeah,
If you're an employee, you're like, well, it's not my recipe. I don't
yeah,
care.
they don't care. I know that they don't, and I think like it never gets less painful, but you get much better at sifting out this is valuable feedback that I can do something with,
Mhm.
and this is just trying to be hurtful. Like, so if you were to pull up our reviews, you'd see some where there was like a period in time where we had like 7 back to back
Mhm.
that were all bad. And I was like, we have very good reviews. So I was like taken aback. I was like, what is going on right now? And then each one of them basically listed the same sort of thing, that whatever they were getting was being cooked way too hard.
Mhm.
And we have different styles of pizza, so that complicates it a little bit. So it
Yeah.
wasn't as simple as just, hey, this is the one in particular that you need to fix, but just across the board, something was going wrong there. And then when I really started to investigate and we looked at a bunch of different things, and then I got other people's feedback, we changed the settings on one of the ovens that we had and we fixed the problem. And I was just like, they were right. And that sucks. That
Yeah.
hurts that, that happened that many times because it feels like a blunder, but it's true that if people are this upset, I can figure out this is just emotional and this part's real.
Yeah.
We can address the real part, and I can just let the ego kind of slough off the part that is hurtful. Like,
Right.
for example, if you can look yourself. There's one that we got where I know for a fact it was a couple that came in and they were very disappointed with what they had. I confirmed with them that this is how we do it normally, and they just absolutely hated it. And
Was
there-
it Tyler? Was it
no,
Tyler?
I mean, we won't go there now. That'll be for afterwards. But it was like, if you look at their review, it was both at the same time. And the woman that this guy was with, she said, this was the worst thing I ever ate, would give it 0 if I could. And I was like, well, That's not very helpful, but
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving us
That's
the
a
chance.
personal taste.
That's
right?
that's a personal attack on me, and I'll never see you again anyway. So
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to deal with those negative comments. And I know we never get any because we're just
yeah,
perfect. But
totally.
if you own it and it's yours and people start attacking it, it's tough to deal with that from a mental perspective. And you've
Yeah.
got to be able to, Tyler talks about this a lot. You've got to be able to determine what's signal and what's noise, right?
Right.
And so you've got the noise comments of
Yeah.
like, well, that's a personal taste. I can't help you there because this is how we do things, and I'm not going to change that just for one customer who's like, this is disgusting. When I have 1,000 others that are like, this is the best pizza I've ever had in my life, you know? And then you've got signal, which is like the 7 in a row, and you're like, oh, something's wrong. Like
Right.
that is a signal for us
Yeah.
to change something. And
Yeah.
so you recognize that, and then you do it though, so which is fantastic.
Well, it's like ego keeps you from doing things that are objectively helpful and correct.
So true.
Because I could be like, the way that we do it is perfect, and you don't know anything about pizza. And like,
Yeah.
I'm the guy who's made 20,000 pizzas by hand myself.
You sound like Adam. Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's me. I don't make mistakes, and it's like clearly we did.
Yeah.
So
Well, tell our listeners a little bit about, because we always hear, obviously in the restaurant industry, a big key is having a good staff
mhm.
and maintaining a staff for a long period of time. Talk to our listeners a little bit about how you are able to create that culture there and to actually, grow people in their career.
Yeah, I definitely think I've done a really bad job at this for a long time. And it hasn't been until the last probably 4 to 5 months that there's been actual effort put in there. Because to me, what that looks like is at first, I'm the owner, operator, I'm doing everything, the classic 90, 100-hour weeks, the whole sort of macho, whatever you want to call that. Not cool, by the way. Don't do that. That's just a footnote. But you get stuck in this, like, I've hired somebody who's like C, maybe D. But if I let them go, that means that I'm just going to have to pick up the slack, and I'm already not seeing my kids enough. So like, you start to like
Yeah.
do these sorts of things where you're saying, hey, on the face value, I want a bunch of A players, but then the choices that you're making are in opposition to that. And so I think for quite literally the first entire year, I didn't do that at all. I self sabotaged and did the exact thing that prevented us from having a strong culture of being like, hey, it's like real simple.
Yeah.
We're making pizza. And I don't get into the whole argument of like, it's just pizza. It's just a podcast. It's just like your kid's ballet practice. You can say it's just whatever. So I just like sweep that off to the side and
Mhm.
be like, don't diminish anything that people are working super hard on, because everything is really difficult, or can be if you're trying hard. So that a different footnote, but it's like it gained to it's like the year mark. Our birthday is of our brick and mortar is what really made me go like, it's going to be like this forever if I don't do something differently. Because I was doing too much. And again, no macho. It's not cool to work that much and miss your family because they're only going to be kids for a certain time, and that whole thing. And it wasn't until we passed that year, we were going into the hardest month that we were going to have. And I still found myself being like, these guys are showing up 45 minutes late, but I need them. And I've told them a million times, stop. And I just
Mhm.
said, you know what? I'm going to make this extremely difficult for myself because I feel like this is the only way out. I fired 3 people and then one person quit. So I was working even more.
Golly.
But then, and this was by far the worst month. Like it was 70% bigger than any month that we had had previously. So, statistically, the worst possible time to decide to have integrity. But it's like, it has to start at some point.
Right.
And since then, I mean, it has been so much better where then any sort of the bad behavior that starts to poison the well for the other people, because then they're like, well, I get here on time and blah, blah, blah. And it gets even messier when we have a tip pooling. So it's like way worse when somebody who's really
Yeah.
good is being like, this jerk off over here is getting a portion of what I'm doing. And you're not, like, you got to talk to them, like that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And so I just, I underestimated that. I didn't focus on it. And it has been so much better because, I mean, ultimately, if you look at it, it's just accountability. And like, that's pretty much it. If you say, if you're late, that's not acceptable, then when somebody is late, it has to not be acceptable and not like well, that's going to make tonight really hard. It's like, which is it?
Yeah.
You know, are you going to let everybody see you make a weak choice, or are you going to say, I told you this was going to happen, and then do it?
I have a coach at the gym, and she always says, nothing changes if nothing changes. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing in business as it is in the gym. I mean, if your goal is to get stronger and you're never pushing more weight, well, you're never going to get stronger. You know, you
Right.
have to try to push a little harder. So, and it's hard. People, they want growth without the hard sometimes, and
Right.
it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, and I think coming in as a founder, like you said at the beginning, you're doing everything, so it's natural to you. That's what you're good at, and it's hard once you realize, okay, we're to the point like we're so big, I can't do everything,
Right.
and passing those things off because it's like oh, it'll take me 1 second to do this. Well, then that's 1 second you lost. Well, those 1 seconds add up. over
Especially
time.
if when you're doing that thing, you notice something else that needs to be done, and then something else, and something else,
Right.
and before you know it, you're down a 30-minute rabbit hole, and you're like, ah, shoot, I shouldn't
Yeah.
have started that.
And it's it's the I guess the bad side of growth and getting bigger, but it's also a good thing, as far as all right, now we got to address this. Now we got to put these
Boundaries.
particular things in place.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you get here at 8:02, then just go ahead, get back in your car and go home.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's hard to
Yeah.
draw that line because you're like thinking, I could really use them today.
Yeah.
But
I
it's-
don't want to have to do this today. I don't want to have to hold you accountable, but it's like you got to do it every single day. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. And then what's so interesting about it is like slowly over time, people start to respect it a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Well, Tyler, you think it's a good time for a bourbon
I
break?
do think it's a good time for a Waze energy.
Waze Energy bourbon break, which, you probably shouldn't mix Waze Energy with bourbon.
No.
I don't think that'd be a
No.
good idea because, I mean, there's like 200 milligrams of caffeine in that thing.
Drink them separately.
Yes, please drink them separately. But back to the bourbon though, I thought it was really good. I really liked it. There's a very nice cherry flavor in there. I don't know if you picked that up or not. And it's got the good natural bourbon flavor as well. So I'm also going to land at an 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
Nice. Easy math.
What is that, Matt? Tyler?
8.5 right now.
Wow.
So,
God,
great.
he's a machine.
All right, let me
at this
see.
stuff.
Okay, so we got two professionals going 8.5. So what does the novice have to say?
Professional's a very strong
I'm gonna
word.
throw I'm gonna throw Huling a bone here, and I'm gonna say an 8.6. Welcome.
8.6.
Ah,
I'm gonna
here we
I'm
go.
gonna raise that average just a little
Well,
bit for you.
To avoid doing
Yeah, what's
the-
that, Matt,
all
Tyler?
the points here, we're gonna go with 8.6.
That sounds good.
Pick your bottle up at Cheers Vineyard.
You could round up and it'd probably be an 8.6.
Yeah.
So actually, that's not true. But anyway, back to the podcast. Well, tell us a little bit about your social media strategy because I know you've got a strong presence there.
Sure.
How does that work? What does that look like for anybody looking to get into content creation?
I think one thing that really surprised me, okay, is that I did nothing interesting, just to be super clear. So my wife was running an account for a local shop, and she posted a video where she just like walked outside and for 30 seconds talked about it. And it's like, it's not choreographed or curated at all. Because she just said, well, I need to do something today. And she posted it and it got like 12,000 views overnight. And I was like, I feel like I'm putting all this effort and I'm getting behind, like I'm getting in my head a little bit thinking like, oh my God, like I got to say every word correctly. And I got to do all this. Otherwise people are going to like bash me and tell me it's the worst social media post they've ever seen and would give me a 0 on Google if they could. But when I saw that, I said, just to be clear, this is no offense to her. She did great for doing it, but like clearly the value is not in polish. I was like, the value came from just somebody just like putting it out there.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do it right now. I'm not going to think about it. And then and this was particularly on TikTok. Instagram does not like faces. That's a whole separate thing if you can go down that rabbit hole. But I went and just front camera sat outside of my house, I think it was 60 seconds of just, hey, like we're Poppy Pies. It's named after my daughter, Poppy. We do 3 pizza styles, Neapolitan, Detroit, New York. I stumbled over my words. I paused, whatever. And I posted it. And that, I think if you look at it now, it's like 170,000 or whatever. And so clearly, TikTok in particular is really a big fan of just of unedited, just
Authentic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I saw that like the following January was bigger than 8 months out of the previous year.
Wow.
Just from so many people coming in every single day being, I saw you on TikTok. I saw you. It's like, oh, is that the guy? Like I went to Costco and it's like so funny. I'm not a celebrity. I don't have a big ego. I have to say this because my wife is going to watch this and go like, oh my God, here you go. She hates it. But it's like, it's so funny how it works. We're just checking out in Costco. I'm not wearing anything that says Poppy Pies. And the guy's like swiping the stuff, like doing this, like looking at me. I'm
Like, sir, can I help you?
it's like, what's up, man? He was like, I think I was like, you've seen the pizza thing on TikTok? He's like, yeah, I want to come try that place. Like, I knew I recognized you or whatever. And it's so funny. It's like you start to see in all these different places, like, oh, like that's what it's about. Not trying to put this perfect image out there. The game is letting people know that you exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then when you make a commitment to do it every single day, you will naturally become better. So the strategy is just, even if it sucks, still do it every single day because it's gonna suck, but it's just the same sort of thing before. It's about making a commitment and then, because you never know, right? You never know what thing somebody is going to see to be like, let's say in marketing, you got to see an ad 12 times before they know that you're going to make a purchase or something. So it's like, okay, like over 6 months, maybe you need to see 11 to 12 things from me. And you'll finally be like, hey, it's a Wednesday. I don't have anything to do for tonight. Oh, I just saw the Poppy Pies thing. Yeah, let's just go try it. And it's literally just that.
Yeah.
That's it. So remove thought from the equation and just do it.
Well, and I think people appreciate that too because they feel like, it's a real person really talking about what they're doing. I think people are so done with like the polished commercials. As soon as I see something that I remotely think's an ad, scroll on.
Right.
But if it's somebody that's actually like, hey, talking about, hey, this is what I do, like, hey, check the kitchen out, check the pizza, this is how we do it. Like, I'll sit and watch that because that is interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like it's more about like putting yourself on display, not selling. Like, because if I made something, I said, hey, Poppy Pies, we're doing a special today, come in. I guarantee you maybe 1 or 2 people would see it and they'd actually come in that day. But it's the same sort of thing. Once you feel like, oh, this guy wants something from me, it's like, I don't care anymore. But if it's just a dude being like, hey, I'm a local person. I have kids. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Now make your own decision.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say, hey, you should come into the shop so that I can pay for my kid's school, even though that is true. It's not a sales pitch.
For sure.
So good. So good.
Well, we're going to end at a 8.6 Huling station.
I just wanted to pronounce it.
Go to Cheers Vineyard in Gluckstadt to get it. We appreciate Waze Energy for their sponsorship. And then tell our listeners, say they heard this podcast and they got really hungry for pizza.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
You're going to find us at 800 Mansip Street in the Belhaven area, right across the hall from Fertile Ground Brewery. Poppy Pies Pizza.
Good deal.
Very nice.
And maybe if Dave Portnoy sees this, we can get him to come out and do a review. So, and
one bite, baby.
One bite.
And to all our listeners, have you streamed this? If you would give us a rating and follow us on social media.
Maybe leave a review.
Yeah, a good one. 5-star, we'd appreciate it. Keep the 1 star to yourself. And we'll see you next week.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
If you have any feedback or would like to be featured, reach out to us at bourbonandbusinesspodcast@gmail.com.
Or find us on Instagram at Bourbon and Business Podcast.
Thanks again for listening.
Follow us for more content and info on the next episode.